Good morning, everyone. Someone once said that when someone cares about you, they make an effort, not an excuse. You could judge the quality of a relationship by the amount of effort that is put into the relationship. And the same thing is true with our relationship with God. The more effort we put into performing mitzvot, the greater the degree of our show, a demonstration of our love and care for Hashem. In the beginning of this week's parsha, we find the Jewish people are going out of Egypt. And it says that as the Jews were getting ready to go, Vayikach Moshe's Atzmos Yosef Imo. Moshe went to get the coffin, the casket of Joseph, to carry it with him on the journey from Egypt to the land of Israel. As we remember, when Joseph died, he requested before his death that eventually when the Jews leave Egypt, they should take his remains for burial in the land of Israel. So now that the Jews are leaving, Moshe goes to retrieve the casket of Joseph to take it on the journey with them out of Egypt into the land of Israel. So there's a medrash that says that King Solomon in the book of Proverbs says, Chacham leiv yikach mitzvot. A wise person will always seize the opportunity to do a mitzvah. Whenever there's a mitzvah, the wise person will go after the mitzvah. And it brings this example, the medrash, that what were all the Jews doing right before they left Egypt? They were going to their Egyptian neighbors to take gold and silver. And what was Moshe doing? He was going to get the casket of Joseph. So what do you see from here? That the wise person, namely Moshe Rabbeinu, goes for the mitzvah, not for the gold and the silver. However, the question is, we learned last week that retrieving the gold and silver from the Egyptians was a commandment from Hashem. Hashem instructed Moshe to tell the Jews, before you leave, go get gold and silver from the Jews. So why is it that the Medrash is contrasting Moshe, who went to do the mitzvah of taking Joseph's bones for burial in Israel, versus the Jews who were going to get gold and silver? Getting gold and silver was also a mitzvah from Hashem. They were both occupied in a mitzvah. They were getting the gold and silver as Hashem commanded. They were getting the coffin. Why this distinction? There's a story told in the 50s, there was this guy, a Yankel, and he got a job working for a seltzer company. Remember the old seltzer bottles, the spritz bottles? So there was a company called Middleman Seltzer in the Lower East Side, and this guy drove a seltzer truck. Now, if you remember the seltzer trucks, the sides were open with cases of seltzer. And he's driving in the Lower East Side on the cobblestones, and all of a sudden a horse and buggy swerves in front of him. The guy sees the horse and the buggy, so he swerves the wheel to get out of the way, and when he makes the sharp right turn with the seltzer truck, Middleman seltzer truck, all the cases of seltzer come crashing out all over the floor, broken bottles, bubbling seltzer on the cobblestones. Yankel, the poor guy, gets out. It's his first day on the job, and he's thinking, what's going to happen now when my boss finds out? So he's standing there, and people start gathering around, looking what happened. Everyone's standing and gathering. And all of a sudden, a very sharply dressed man, a double-breasted suit, a tie, a fedora, says, gentlemen, why are we just standing here? Why don't we help this guy out? He's going to lose his job. Why don't we raise some money for him? And he takes off his fedora, takes out a $5 bill, puts it in the hat, and he says, let's take up a collection for him. And they start passing around the hat, and everyone starts putting money in the hat to help this guy out. And one guy says to the other guy, wow, what a mitzvah this guy's doing. And the other one says, mitzvah shmitzvah, that's Mr. Middleman. So you see, there's mitzvahs and there's mitzvahs. There are easy mitzvahs like getting gold and silver from your Egyptian neighbors, and then there's hard mitzvahs like carrying the coffin of Joseph out of Egypt. And what the Torah is saying is that not all mitzvahs are created equal. The more effort a mitzvah takes, the greater the mitzvah is. And therefore, the Medrash says, look at Moshe Rabbeinu, he didn't just go after the mitzvah, he went after the most difficult mitzvah, because the more you put into a mitzvah, the greater the return.